It is official. It has finally happened. Mike McDaniel announced today that they are benching Tua Tagovailoa for the remainder of the 2025 season. And in that news, they also announced that Quinn Ewers, the rookie quarterback out of Texas, is going to be the starting quarterback this week for Cincinnati. And you have to imagine he will start the rest of the season so they can fully evaluate what they have in the former five-star recruit and quarterback they drafted in the 7th round of this past April's draft. I think this is the only decision that had to be made. Tua Tagovailoa's play declined so much that you could just not justify continuing to trot him out there week after week. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing in expecting different results. Unfortunately, at this point, putting Tua out there every week and expecting anything different, that is insanity. Tua, I think, had a great first 3-4 years in Miami, but the decline that he showed in 2024 and this season, it left Miami with no other choice. And with them officially eliminated from the playoffs, you had to make this move. And we told you yesterday that this was on the horizon, and if it happened, we would have you covered. Well, we do, folks. This is why you subscribe. Join the Dolphins Today family. You might be watching this, and we're live on the channel right now as well, breaking down the news and reacting. That's why you subscribe, and make sure you have notifications turned on. It just, to me, the writing was on the wall, right? His inability to really elevate this offense. Even when the Miami Dolphins won 5 of 6 games and won 4 in a row before the losing streak ended on Monday to the Steelers, they were winning in spite of Tua. Tua wasn't out there dominating these games and leading them to victories. No, the reason why they were winning is because, one, they were playing inferior opponents the entire time outside of the Buffalo Bills game, and they were running for 175 yards a game, and the defense was allowing about 14 points per game. That's why they were able to win, because they could run the ball, control the time of possession, and their defense was balling out against inferior opponents and bad quarterback play that the Jets had, the Saints had, the Falcons had, right? That is why you were winning. You weren't winning because of Tua, and when you give him the opportunity time after time after time to rise to the occasion in the biggest moments and maybe go out there and show why he still deserves the QB1 position and the $50 million per season, he just folds. And you had to look yourself in the mirror and say, what is the goal of playing NFL football? It is to win a Super Bowl. When do the Super Bowls get played? They get played in February. How do you get to the Super Bowl? Well, you have to win big-time games in December to clinch your playoff spot in seeding, and then go on the road at times in January to get wins. Well, Tua in his career, 0-6 in games sub 40 degrees. Like, there was an opportunity to prove everybody wrong on Monday against Pittsburgh. 13-degree game. 7-6, winning football team in a must-win game, or you are eliminated from the playoffs contention. And what happened? Everybody shit the bed on the offensive end. And I don't even blame the defense, because they were on the field the entire second half, it felt like, because the offense wasn't able to sustain anything. I mean, Tua, through the first 3 quarters before the stat padding fourth, he was god-awful. It was the final straw, in my opinion. How could you justify continuing to put him out there? I just don't think you could have. I just don't think you could. And now the question that we have to ask ourselves is this the last time Tua has played a snap for the Miami Dolphins in a regular season game? I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But predict it for me. Will Tua play a snap for Miami again? Y for yes or N for no? Get down in the comment section and let me know. We're going to start talking about Quinn Ewers here in a second and the decision to go to Quinn instead of Zach Wilson. But I do want to make note of Tua's contract, as well as if he will ever play again for Miami. Because I think there is a chance he does not. Now, I believe it is more likely that we have a scenario here that is similar to the Atlanta Falcons, to where you either ride with Quinn Ewers, he looks good for the final 3 games, and you go into next year with him as the starter and Tua as that expensive backup like Kirk Cousins is in Atlanta. Or if Quinn stinks, you sign a free agent to a 1-year deal like a veteran, or maybe even make a trade for one like a Mac Jones or something, and then draft a quarterback in the 4th, 5th round, just throwing out names, a Drew Aller from Penn State or a Taylon Green from Arkansas, and then have Tua be like the veteran in the room, because there's no cap relief if you get rid of him, right? If you cut him prior to June 1st, it's a $99.2 million dead cap. Now, there's ways to get around it, and the number only be about $56 million, but you're still paying him $55 million to no matter what, whether he's on the team or not on the team, right? So, like, the point I'm trying to make here is, would you rather pay him to be a backup, or would you rather pay him to be away from the team? I mean, that all derives from if you believe he would make noise and make it a messy situation being the backup in Miami. That's the decision that has to be made. But there's no benefit unless you're able to find a trade partner, which I don't anticipate you being able to do, to moving on from Tua this offseason. You made the hardest decision, which was benching him. You're not going to go back to him as a starter. You're just not doing that. His time in Miami is over, and he's likely going to be the backup in Miami this year as well as going forward. All right, more to come here, but we are sponsored by GLD. It's the holiday season. I like wearing some jewelry. One of the best gifts you can give is jewelry, and sometimes you get low-quality junk that's overpriced. That's the worst. But with GLD, don't got to worry about that. They've changed the game. You're getting quality pieces that are built to last without breaking the bank. For a limited time only, new customers are getting an insane deal. Use code CHAT to get 50% off at GLD.com. GLD has an official collab with the NFL, so you can get every NFL team on a pendant this season. They also have official collabs with the NBA, WNBA, MLB, NCAA, MLS, and even DC Comics. Chains and pendants that let you rep what you love. You can also create custom pieces, whether it's an iced out chain or a one-on-one pendant. GLD can bring it to life. Example, partner with the NFL is sweet silver chain with the silver Dolphins pendant. They have so many different examples. The one that I have here, the helmet one, you can get all whatever you want over at GLD. Work hard and change the game. Right now, GLD is making holiday shopping easy. For a limited time only, new customers get an insane deal. Use code CHAT to get 50% off at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code CHAT at GLD.com. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. We mentioned it off the top. The official starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins going forward, at least in Week 16, is Quinn Ewers. I don't anticipate, even if Quinn struggles, them benching him and going to Zach Wilson in Week 17. At this point, you just need to see what the rookie has. And even if he struggles against one of the worst defenses in football this upcoming Sunday, the Cincinnati Bengals, you have to, in my opinion, trot him out there for the following week in 17 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because you have to see if the young kid is able to bounce back. Do I expect the Dolphins and Quinn Ewers to go out there and look 1,000 times better offensively with Ewers than Tua? No, I do not. If you actually ask me, I would be willing to bet the offense actually looks a little bit worse with Quinn Ewers than Tua. But the point of making the switch from Tua to Quinn or Zach Wilson was never to make the team better. It was to simply evaluate what Quinn Ewers is as a QB. They made him the backup in that Week 7 game against the Cleveland Browns, where he ultimately played the fourth quarter because the game was so out of hand and Tua was horrible, throwing 3 interceptions in that one. Ewers went 5 of 8, nothing special, missed a couple real easy throws, but did showcase why there's intrigue in him when he made a 45-yard throw perfectly down the left sideline where D. Eskridge goes up and makes a big-time play. Like, I'm not going to come out here and act like Ewers is going to be better than Tua right away. I told you already that's probably not going to be the case. But here are the 2 scenarios that Miami was faced with. Really 3. Scenario one was that you continue to start Tua. You have no idea what Quinn Ewers is going into 2026, and you're committed to Tua almost again as a starter unless you cut or trade him in the offseason. And Mike McDaniel is married to Tua going forward, like he kind of already is. Scenario number two, which is where we are right now. You ultimately bench Tua and go with Quinn Ewers. Mike McDaniel now gets 3 games to prove that he can win without Tua. For people saying this was a move to have the Dolphins lose games and get a better draft pick, Mike McDaniel needs to win in order to save his job for 2026. If he goes 2-1 or 3-0 with Quinn Ewers at quarterback in the final 3 games of the season, well, that is proving to the world, that is proving to the front office that Tua was the issue in Miami, at least offensively, in 2024 and 2025. That's what he's proving right there. And it could show that, like, hey, you give me a young quarterback that I can mold with less physical limitations. Well, now Miami maybe has something here going forward. Now, I thought maybe there was a world that they would go with Zach Wilson at quarterback just because, hey, you come out here and say, okay, Zach Wilson, the veteran, gives Miami the best chance to win, which would then in turn save Mike McDaniel's job, and that's why they went with him. But I'm glad they did the right thing by going with the unknown in the 7th round pick, Quinn Ewers. Because what if he is good? I know people are going to say, what if Zach Wilson's good in Miami's system? Former number 2 overall pick. Well, in the preseason, he didn't really look that good. Quinn actually showed more to me. I know it was going against third stringers, but in that second half against the Lions in the week 2 of the preseason, Quinn Ewers looked really good. And now you wonder, hey, should they bring up Theo Weiss Jr. and let him get some run? Because Theo and Quinn Ewers had a great connection in the preseason. He's been sitting on the practice squad for Miami. The Dolphins, in other news, by the way, waived Matthew Judon today. So they have an open 53-man roster spot. Could that be to sign Theo Weiss to the active roster? I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but that's kind of the stuff I'm looking at right now. It's an exciting day in Miami, in my opinion. One-word reaction to Tua's benching, and then we're going to round out today's show. Let me know your one word. Mine is hope. I know that makes it seem doom and gloom, that it was, but that's kind of where we were. I said it on a couple shows over the past couple of days. If you want to go 6-11 and 7-10 in the NFL, Tua Tagovailoa is your guy. But that's not the goal here. The goal is to win big games, win a Super Bowl. Tua proved over the last 4 years, even when he was playing good football in 2022 and 2023, that he is incapable of winning a big game in a cold weather environment in January and December. Can Quinn Ewers do that? I don't know. More chances or not? Probably not. But at least we are going to find out, and at least we can finally admit here that we need to find a new quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to continue to have you covered. It's an interesting day here. We'll have you with the news from now until Sunday, and we'll be live for the first game with Quinn Ewers as QB1 of the Miami Dolphins. Subscribe and join the channel.